There is a saying, when rape is inevitable, lie down and enjoy it. ಒಂದು ಲಘುವಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ತಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಯಾವ ದುರುದ್ದೇಶವೂ ನಮಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. I will not react.
ये ओछी सोच कांग्रेस पार्टी के एक नेता की इस प्रश्न को हम सबके सामने प्रस्तुत करती है कि कांग्रेस का वो नेतृत्व जो बार बार उत्तर प्रदेश में दुहाई देता है कि मैं लड़की हूँ, लड़ सकती हूँ, अगर इतनी हिम्मत है तो पहले इस नेता को अपनी पार्टी से निष्कासित करो.
It's shameful. It's shameful. Whichever party he is from, the party leaders must take cognizance of it. Be asked to leave. People of such mindset should not be sitting in such important places. Trivializing rape, trivializing the mental trauma that women go through, and a criminal activity is, I think, one of the most shocking and shameless thing to say, especially in the floor of the House. I think he needs to apologize to all the women of this country, and so does the Speaker, who was found laughing at that particular comment.
Hello everyone, you're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. A Congress MLA is at the center of a political storm over a shocking remark he made in the State Assembly on Thursday. During a discussion, the Congress leader said that there is a saying that when rape is inevitable, lie down and enjoy it. The first reaction to this shameful remark was from the Speaker, who just laughed it off. But the firestorm started after the remark went viral. Ramesh Kumar was forced to apologize in the Assembly today, but he claimed the context of his comment was lost. Female leaders from other parties, even from the Congress, and also the Congress party's partners, are leading the charge, demanding Ramesh Kumar's ouster from the State Assembly, and his party accusing him of insulting not just women and rape survivors, but also the ethos of the State House. In fact, Congress General Secretary Priyanka Vadra, who is making the pro-women pitch in Uttar Pradesh with the slogan "Ladki hoon, lad sakti hoon," just tweeted a short while back saying, "I wholeheartedly condemn the statement made by Ramesh Kumar. It is inexplicable how anyone can ever utter such words. They are indefensible. Rape is a heinous crime." Full stop. Sources say Priyanka Gandhi has also informed the Karnataka Congress unit that the MLA's remarks are unacceptable. But her party colleagues from Karnataka Congress Karnataka Chief D.K. Shivkumar and leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, have said that the apology from the MLA should suffice and the issue should not be dragged further. But this is not the first time that Ramesh Kumar has made such a statement. In 2019, when he was the Assembly Speaker, he trivialized the plight of rape victims, saying the trauma passes if the crime is ignored. What adds insult to injury is that this statement was made on the anniversary of the Nirbhaya rape case, when a medical student was gang raped and brutalized and later died in the national capital. Ramesh Kumar is not a lone politician who has insulted women and rape survivors. Mulayam Singh Yadav once said, "Boys make mistakes, and it is relationship disputes which lead to rape charges." While multiple leaders from across the political spectrum have time and again blamed the victim for the crime, making repeated pitch that women with values don't get raped. This is a mindset issue that permeates our society and even our political class. But netas must be held to higher standards. They are leaders, influencers and lawmakers, and we have to expect more from them. Then the question that I'm asking on News Epicenter this evening is, shouldn't the political class adopt a zero tolerance policy to axe such behavior? And has the time come for a legal red line? Joining me on the show, Supriya Shinate, Congress spokesperson Tara Krishnaswamy is co-founder Political Shakti and Citizens for Bengaluru. Lakshmi Iyengar is a lawyer. Anila Singh, spokesperson of the BJP. Asha Devi is Nirbhaya's mother. First to the politicians. Ms. Srinate, the comment is reprehensible. We have heard from your General Secretary as well. But the one that will be seen as okay, do you think it's, you know, it's all right to stop at just condemnation? Shouldn't this MLA be sacked?
So first things first, I think what was said in the Karnataka Assembly by the MLA concerned, Mr. Ramesh Kumar, is reprehensible. I mean, it cannot be said about women because men don't realize what a serious crime rape is. It does not just impact a woman's body, it impacts her psyche, it impacts her mentality. It actually is an attack on her soul. So I don't think any man will ever understand the seriousness of rape. So I highly, highly condemn it. Forget about the party line or not. The second, and I think that pained me even more, was here is a man who said what he did, and then you had the speaker who found it rather funny, and the rest of the people present in the assembly,
yes,
which were elected representatives, actually laughed on it. I am today very proud of two people, other than my leader, who's come out and said it's a heinous crime, these words cannot be uttered. I am very proud of the fact that Congress elected MLAs, women MLAs in Karnataka, whether it's a Soumya Reddy or it's an Anjali Nimbalkar, have come out in the open, demanded an apology, and have actually denounced what their senior colleague has said on the floor of the House. I laud that, and that's what should be done.
Okay.
Because I think most men take it for granted that they can say things against women and get away with it.
Yes.
And Maria, without taking a political line on it, I will very strongly say this will end when there are more women in politics.
Absolutely.
And which is why I'm a huge votary for more women in public life.
Yes.
Till such time we remain a minority, men think it's easy to say these things. And this has happened across party lines. The
yes.
speaker was a BJP
yes.
member.
I'll bring in
MLA was a
Anila
Congress
now.
member. They thought
Supriya.
it was a banter.
Yes.
They thought this was a banter. It's highly shameful.
I agree with you that this has to be, the condemnation has to come across party lines. Anila Singh, your party leaders have come out condemning the MLA. What about the speaker? He was on the chair. What did he do? Will you also condemn his words, his action and his laughter? Shouldn't the assembly then give a sense of the House that they have trivialized crime against women?
My Ram to everyone. And Maria, I totally appreciate what Supriya ji has said right now, that we should not politicize it. And leaving everything aside what she said, but when she comes out and she says that whatever was said by MLA from Congress, it is deplorable. Yes, indeed, it is deplorable. It is obnoxious. And indeed, each and every person who was laughing in that assembly, including Speaker, was not at all in good taste. I mean, rape is not one thing you laugh about it. You say that there is a कहावत जिसमें ये कहा जाता है कि अगर बलात्कार से नहीं बच सकते हो तो लेट कर enjoy करो. Let her enjoy karo. This is what he said. I mean, one can't imagine if somebody is raping you, you simply lie down and start enjoying it. And why Priyanka Vadra took so long to react? Why? Because everybody was asking her that you have started a campaign in Uttar Pradesh, ladki hu main lad sakti hu.
Anila,
and you yourself are
the question is you have a speaker who is conducting that House. What about his words and action? He is from the BJP. The point being made by Supriya is that she has condemned, the party MLA has backed those colleagues or party MLAs, women colleagues who have condemned his action. Shouldn't the BJP be doing the same? Why make those party lines here?
See, we have already done that. And just now also, I made my point very clear.
Okay.
That including Speaker,
including Speaker,
who
absolutely,
laughed on his joke.
Absolutely.
It is deplorable.
Time has come for the Speaker to apologize as much as this MLA. There has to be an action, and he has to give a sense of the House saying that this is not acceptable, that this is condemnable. Tara, we have heard offensive comments made outside Parliament or Assembly. But a comment of this nature made by a lawmaker inside a house, that's place where laws are made for the country, does it really magnify the insensitivity of these remarks, making it worse, far worse?
There is rate misogyny because in some ways we've normalized and internalized it, from it's just a slap to, if somebody hits you on the backside while you're in a road or in a bus, that it's just a grope or whatever. So it's very easy to say there are shades of this, but the fact is, as far as women, especially in the political arena, are concerned, the misogyny is just unbearable. It's daily, and hats off to them for stepping into a career like this, where the odds are stacked against them every which way. You've got to remember that if the MLA, Mr. Ramesh, or the speaker who laughed at the remark were surrounded by women in the house, if 50% of the house was women, if there were women sitting on both sides of him, he would certainly pause before, the ugliness of his mind was exposed. That's what happens when you're amongst the very people on whom you're passing comments. That said, I also have to say that such commentary, perhaps not about rape, but certainly including about rape, but there have been misogynistic comments from everybody, from Prime Minister to the Chief Ministers of various states. One thing I must say is something about the politics today has changed, because I have not seen women from the same party protest and from top to bottom people issue condemnation and an apology. So that is the first, maybe not enough, but a great beginning is what I would say.
Yes.
The second thing I would say is, when Shakti was doing our campaigns in Bihar, an MLC, BJP MLC, female MLC in Bihar, was on our panel. It was a combined Times of India panel, actually. And she was talking about how there was a series of child molestations and rapes in Bihar. This is 2020, before the elections,
Yes.
right? Maybe in the year leading up to the elections. And all the women across party lines joined hands to say this is unacceptable. The state is not doing enough, and we are going to raise it.
Yes,
in the
I think
assembly,
that
in
is
the floor of the House.
a day today when I'm hearing both Supriya and Anila Singh
But
from two
Maria, the
different
important
parties
thing is,
making the same
but the important
point
thing is
that there
when
is a
they
need to
raised it.
condemn it, and apology should be coming from both the sides. It's not about politics here. It is about ensuring that these comments are not made in future.
Maria, if I
Lakshmi
may just take
Iyengar.
a second.
Yes, please, go ahead.
When they raised it in Parliament, in the floor of the House in Bihar, all of them across party lines, the men in the assembly laughed. Okay, so this is, even if there is 10, 15, 20% women, all of them join hands and raise it in the assembly. This is not the first time.
Yes.
So your question about isn't it more grave when it happens on the floor of the House? The point is, men actually laugh, even if you raise it as a serious issue.
Okay.
So I don't think this problem can go
Opening
away
comments
until they are surrounded
also
by
now
women.
from Lakshmi Iyengar. Before I bring in Supriya, just a quick comment from Lakshmi as well. Lakshmi, we have been invariably relying on moral compass or conscience of these lawmakers when we hear a number of these sexist, misogynist comments, and this has been happening for years and decades now. I have a long list of such comments that have been made, but where do you draw that red line? My question is, should it just stop at their conscience driving them, or shouldn't there be something more? And what is that more that we can look at? Can there be a legal line, legal red line, or some kind of policy that lawmakers are expected of a particular conduct, not just that is driven by their conscience, but one that has to be driven by the principles and policy of the House?
Yes, I agree. An apology would not suffice. Quite often, they're quite clueless about the seriousness of the issue. Even when this has happened, most of them are unaware as to why this is such a national issue. See, cutting across party lines, quite often these politicians are quite crude, uncouth, uncultured, and these off the cuff remarks they make and they're completely oblivious to their surroundings. So these kind of regressive men who don't respect women, they're bound to make insensitive remarks. So while the apology is welcome, I think we need to take steps as to how you can correct all of this. Sensitization programs are absolutely necessary. See, corporates always have these induction programs, training programs. I think politicians need this. Well, there are some rules in the House. There are certain rules wherein the speaker can pull up these members if they make uncomfortable remarks. The speaker is supposed to ask them to withdraw these comments, or they have to leave the House for the rest of the day after they make all of this. So there are rules, but then I think none of them are imposed.
And we haven't really heard from the assembly that whether these comments have been expunged to begin with. आशा देवी, आप हमारे शो पर बहुत बार आई हैं और हमने इस बात पे बहुत चर्चा की है. कैसे बदलेगा ये माइंडसेट? ये रिफ्लेक्शन है लाजो मलेस का. क्या ये डिजीज है? ये सोच कहां से आती है?
लेकिन जहां से ये बयान आया है वहां पे अगर हम में कुछ दिक्कत है, हम विक्टिम हैं, तो हम चाहते हैं कि किसी के थ्रू हमारी आवाज सदन तक पहुंचे, सदन में उठे, तो हमें शायद इंसाफ मिलेगा, शायद हमारी बात सुनी जाएगी. लेकिन जब वहां से ऐसा बयान आता है, ऐसी टिप्पणी आती है जो सुनकर अपने दुर्भाग्य पे बहुत अफसोस होता है कि हम कितने दुर्भाग्य देश में चल रहे हैं कि जो हमारे नेता प्रतिनिधि हैं, जिनसे हम उम्मीद करते हैं, जहां के भी वो नेता होंगे, जनता बहुत उम्मीद के साथ उनको चुन के वहां पे बैठाई होगी, और वहां पे ऐसे वो टिप्पणी कर रहे हैं जिसका हम शब्दों में बयान नहीं कर पाते हैं. लेकिन ऐसे माहौल में हमें जो चीज नहीं बोलनी चाहिए वो हम बोलते हैं, हम प्रूव करते हैं. तो ये मानसिकता दर्शाती है कि हमारे समाज में, तो हम समाज की बात करते हैं कि समाज की मानसिकता खराब है, समाज की मानसिकता गिरी हुई है. लेकिन हमारे नेता प्रतिनिधियों का ऐसा सोच होगा, ऐसा मानसिकता रहेगी, तो समाज में क्या संदेश जा रहा है? आज जो मैंने वीडियो देखा, सामने से देखा, कि जिस तरह वो कह रहे हैं कि नहीं, अगर रेप होता है तो, अगर नहीं रुकता है तो उसे एंजॉय करना चाहिए या मजे लेना चाहिए. और इससे भी दुर्भाग्य ये है कि जो सबसे ऊपर कुर्सी लगती है, वहां पे वो महाशय जी इतने खिलखिला के हंस रहे हैं कि जैसे वो जन्नत में ही पहुंच गए. तो मैं तो यही कहना चाहूंगी कि जो टिप्पणी किया वो, और जो उसका समर्थन किया वो, और जो ठहाके लगाया वो, वहां पे मौजूद हर एक सदस्य इस टिप्पणी का जिम्मेवार है. हर सदस्य का वहां से बर्खास्त होना चाहिए, उन पर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए. क्योंकि एक नॉर्मल आदमी का अगर ऐसी भाषा बोलता है तो हम सीधे शब्द कह देता है वो पढ़ा लिखा नहीं है, उसको समझ नहीं है. हाँ. लेकिन हम जिसको चुन के सदन में बैठाए हैं, जहाँ पे कानून बनते हैं, लोगों के, बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने, प्रॉब्लम सुने जाते हैं, वहां पे अगर ऐसे महिलाओं
इनसे क्या इंसाफ की उम्मीद की जाए? जो
महिलाओं के साथ मजाक,
औरतों के मसाइल को इस तरह से हंसते हुए मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं. बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने. आशा देवी जी, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा. लेट मी ब्रिंग इन सुप्रिया नाउ. सुप्रिया, दिस इज द सेम असेंबली where MLAs in 2012 were watching porn in the house. What action was taken against them then? They got away.
Not just that, this is the same assembly where 15 MLAs have taken injunction from the High Court so that their sex CDs are not aired. This is the same assembly where the health minister has taken an injunction. This is the same assembly where there was a sex for a job CD that was released against one of their ministers. So yes, my head hangs in shame because we're talking about assemblies like that. But there is one glimmer of hope, and I will tell you what that glimmer of hope is. That glimmer of hope comes from a person like Priyanka Gandhi. She's putting her political hat out there and saying this is wrong. Rape is a heinous crime. Full stop. It cannot be spoken as lightly as this man is. Imagine somebody like Priyanka Gandhi denouncing it. She's the leader of this party. Somebody like Randeep Singh Surjewala, in charge Karnataka General Secretary, denouncing it. DK Shiv Kumar, the PCC president, denouncing it and saying that men need to be sensitized. You know what will sensitize them? No amount of training, no amount of legal action. What will sensitize these men are to be surrounded by more women colleagues. When there will be more women MLAs sitting next to them, they will not dare say what they think they can get away by saying. And I have one important point to add here. I was happy to see a very aggrieved, a very akroshit Smriti Irani in the Lok Sabha today. I wish she had spoken when Hathras happened. I wish she had spoken when Singer happened. I wish she had spoken when Chinmayanand happened, because then she would not have been blamed of petty political politics, because that's what I'm going to blame her for today. I wish she had broken her silence on those issues like Priyanka Gandhi has done today. She did not think about the political ramification. She is General Secretary in charge of Uttar Pradesh in the Congress party. She is speaking against one of her own MLAs. She did not think about the ramifications. But the problem is that a Women's and Child Development Minister turns a blind eye when crimes and heinous crimes like Hathras happen in Uttar Pradesh. Learn from her. Let's all come together and bring more women to parliament.
Yes.
Let's say ladki
Maria, I hate to politicize
unless
the
we
matter
don't do that, nothing will change.
Yes, go ahead.
Whenever there is a matter related to women, I hate to politicize it. But, you know, since we are representatives of political parties, we have to bring somehow telling that my leader is better than yours. Just know Supriya ji is, she's got all the good words about Priyanka Vadra ji. But Priyanka Vadra ji took so long to react. Perhaps she was requesting her mother and brother that some action should be taken against this MLA.
No, Anila, she was unwell. Just for your information, Anila, she has been very unwell. I can tell you that on national TV, which I don't like to talk about. She has been very unwell. Even the fact that she's going to Lucknow by driving down because she's very unwell. So let's not get petty.
I will pray for her good health.
Personal. That's all I will say.
Let me give the final words. I have 30 seconds exactly for Lakshmi Iyengar. Lakshmi, we have been talking about sensitization, what will bring the change. The change would perhaps be if there are more women among these men, ensuring there's greater representation of women in assemblies and parliament. Do you think change will be then, or change, a glimpse of change we have seen today when across party lines women have come together, even from within the Congress party, to condemn, women from the BJP condemning the words and action of the speaker?
Well, what I heard was only praise for one lady and, condemning another lady. This was again very political. Again, saying that there must be more women is more of a poll strategy in UP, according to me. I think that, of course, we want more women in politics. But to start with, I think sensitization programs should take place. Politicians have to be told as to how they have to behave. And very truly, it must come from within for them to respect women. And law has to take its course. You can't hear comments that, law is, you just can't say such things.
But what will be the law here?
There are procedures to be adopted, and they have to be adopted.
What are these procedures? I'm just trying to understand what will be the nature of these procedures, Lakshmi.
Well, there are procedures where you can take action as against all of these people, and the speaker has to do it. The allegations made as against a complaint has to be taken in, and based on that complaint, there would be an inquiry, and then they would take action as against them. There's also a procedure where they can withdraw members, suspend members. All of these actions will have to take place. And I think that would at least have some kind of curtailing power.
What will be the deterrent here so that MLAs, lawmakers across the country do not do what they did in the Assembly of Karnataka, which is completely unacceptable and strongly condemnable? Supriya, Tara, Lakshmi, Anila Singh and Asha Devi, thank you so much for joining us. Let this discussion continue on news18.com. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.